Hey! Hey bosses, it's JoeMan543 and I am back. So, here we have Terraria and my phone doing FACECAM because, I don't know, didn't do FACECAM before, so changed it up. Of course, Terraria is not changing it up at all because that is what I left you with. So, probably wondering, Joe Man, it's been like, let's see, a year and a half since you posted a video. Why? Well, I went away, and now I came back. So, today I'm going to tell you the story of the last couple years or so, and before I can do that, I have a confession. The world I had before and the player I had before are gone. And we'll get to that and why that is. Yeah. Alright, so I have a bad habit of making a character, playing for a couple hours, and then making another character. Let's see. Gotta make this the most awesomest dude ever. Get some flaming hair. His eyes also look that way. Let's see. Undershirt, that's important. Normal shirt. People wear those too. And then pants. We're going all out here with this magenta. Because that's how we do. This is a female. There we go. I did not notice. Alright. What should we name this character? This creature that will be controlled. How about Joe Man? I don't know, I'm not creative. Alright, so you know, world generation, it happens. It's always hard coming up with these names. This is like the second hardest part of the game. The other hard part is like the Moon Lord or something. Alright, this is an old reference for you guys, but we're going with The Rock. Now let's make The Rock. Alright, well, I will start storying now, and you guys just get to watch Terraria go. And I'll very likely get distracted along the way. So, where I left off, well, sort of last update type video. So, April of 2015, April 9th, well no, April 8th, I got on a plane and I went to England. And for 6 weeks after going to England, I was at what we call a missionary training center, because for the next 2 years, from that point, I wanted to be a missionary. Now, you may be wondering, what is a missionary? Like, you know, I wouldn't say it's an everyday word, so basically, missionary, well, this definition is going to be based upon, you know, my experience and whatever. But basically, I'm Christian. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it's been a commandment of Christ since Christ was Christ, to, you know, preach the gospel, share what he taught, and, you know, basically, we'll live happy together. Forever. So, yeah, basically being a missionary is for 2 years. Like, that's the kind of the norm amount. And I agree, it's perfect amount of time. Yeah, so for 2 years, you go somewhere, and you don't know where. You get to find out after you submit your papers, basically giving information and saying, I want to serve a mission, I can be available at this date. Anyway, so the church leaders receive their inspiration and write back, tell you where to go. For me, it was the German-speaking Alpine mission, or in other words, the area around the Alpine Mountains, which, for those of you that don't know, is basically southern Germany, all of Austria, and about half of Switzerland. So, yeah. I think I'm perhaps jumping a little ahead. Alright, so back to England. So, went to England, and I was there for 6 weeks. I left America April 8th, arrived in England April 9th, kind of an overnight flight, and, you know, time and the sun, and yeah, time passed quicker. So, England, it was fun. Yeah, basically, Missionary Training Center was teaching me as much German and as much about what I'd be sharing with people as possible in 6 weeks. And it was a lot, as you can imagine. But it was good, and yeah, that was sort of the first time meeting the missionaries that I'd be working with. So anyway, then 6 weeks later, I have a problem here. Yeah, basically 6 weeks of being in England. So then after that, May 20th or so, 2015, got on a plane with 7 other missionaries, 5 men, 2 women, and we flew down to Munich, Germany, and that's where we met the mission president. Basically, he's the guy in charge of the 200 or so missionaries that are within the boundaries of that mission. Again, the you know, the area around the Alpine Mountains I was talking about. So, got to meet him, meet some other missionaries, have dinner, and sleep over. And then the next day, we all dispersed and went to our various areas, and the area I went to was in a city called Weiblingen, which is just barely to the east of Stuttgart. So keep in mind this is all southern Germany area. Yeah, so the first missionary that I got paired up with, his name was Elder Samuelson. He was from Utah, just like me. He had been on his mission for about a year, and that's normally how it goes, you know. More experienced missionary gets paired with a younger missionary. You know, if you put 2 brand new missionaries together that hardly speak German, hardly know how things work around there, you know, could be problems. But yeah, we were companions for a bit, and then, alright, so now I gotta explain kind of how time works on a mission. So every 6 weeks, we have a transfer day. Basically, it's a day every 6 weeks when we have the possibility to be transferred to a different area. Now, it doesn't happen every transfer day. Ultimately, it is up to the mission president, and he, of course, prays about it, and, you know, tries to find out what's absolutely best. You know, where should we go? Who should we be with? So, anyway. So yeah, every 6 weeks we have the transfer day. And so, yeah, we missionaries sort of gauge our mission by number of transfers. And the transfer is 6 weeks, so we would normally stay in an area for about 6 months or 4 transfers. And usually we'd be with a companion for 2 transfers. I mean, you know, there's tons of different circumstances that can change that, but 2 transfers is kind of the norm for companions, and then 4 transfers for an area. You know, kind of the one stays, one goes, and then the new guy comes, and then the old guy goes. You know. I died. Anyway, so I was with Elder Samuelson for my first transfer, and then he went away. I don't remember where he went. It's hard to keep track of where everyone went, because there were, let's see, a good 30 or so different areas in the mission, different cities where we were stationed, and yeah. And now you're probably wondering, okay, so you go there and all that, but how does this all like get taken care of, you know? Going to Germany and living there, it's not like you can just do that with, you know, what's in your wallet or whatever. So how it works is we, people that want to serve missions, before we serve a mission, we gather all the money we can, and what the church suggests is $10,000. And sort of how it works is we save up about $10,000 and or get help from our family, friends. For me, most of the money came from my family. At 19 years old, it's not like I had $10,000 sitting around. So, anyway, the $10,000 was paid, it was ready, and how it works is the money gets paid, and missionaries get sent all over the world, like anywhere that we're allowed, and there are many, many countries, so possibilities are huge of where we could go. And so, you know, some areas are expensive. Germany, for example, is an expensive area. Taxes are relatively high, and living cost is high. Food, it's just generally a bit higher. Food's not all that much higher, but anyway, generally speaking, it's more expensive than America. So what the church does is, you know, some missionaries get sent to expensive places like Germany or New York, but then some others get sent to less expensive places like Brazil or Mexico. I don't know exactly what their money situation is in those parts of the world, but I've heard it's generally a bit cheaper. And so missionaries that would get sent to those areas don't necessarily need $10,000 over 2 years. And so the church sort of divides the money so that it can be as equal as possible for all the missionaries, or all the to-be missionaries. Church makes it as equal as possible for all of them. And yeah, so that's basically how that works. And the church would take care of paying for apartments, greatly coming from that money that gets paid. And the whole idea is that for the 2 years that a missionary serves a mission, 2 years or 18 months, you know, it can vary a little bit. Normally it's 2 years for the men and 18 months for the women. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Totally just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, basically the idea is that we have to worry about as little as possible. So we can focus as much as possible on sharing our testimonies, our knowledge of Christ with others. So, I mean, that's the basics of how that works. Anyway, that was kind of a long tangent. So, back to the chronicles of my mission. So, yeah, I was with Elder Samuelson for one transfer, a period of 6 weeks, and then he left, went somewhere, I forget where, and I received Elder Smith. And Elder Smith was a little bit older on the mission, older than Elder Samuelson. I mean, it's not always the case, but generally speaking, older on the mission is more experienced, well, more experienced, you know, more skilled, just generally better. Not always, you know, if you don't put anything into it, you know, it's still going to be the same as when you started, but anyway. So I had Elder Smith, and we were together for about 2 transfers. That's about 18 months. Or, no, it's about 3 months. Yeah, and then he went away. Actually, he was at the end of his mission, so he went home. And then, after him, I received Elder... I'm going to say Elder Werner. I mean, if you don't want to be all American and stuff, you could say Elder Werner. But I think it sounds kind of silly. Yeah. So I was with Elder Werner. And in that transfer that I was with Elder Werner, I was able to get my German driver's license. I already had my Utah driver's license, so it's a pretty easy switch. It's just, I mean, basically just some paperwork, and yeah, do paperwork, and then you get your license translated, and voila, you have a license from Germany, good for about like 20 years. It's crazy how long they'll last. And yep. So then after that, Elder Werner stayed in Weiblingen, the area that I had been in for 4 transfers up to that point. And then I went to a city called Tübingen. Tübingen is about an hour south of Stuttgart. Stuttgart is kind of the big city of southwest Germany. So, yeah. So I went to Tübingen, and I was with Elder Ma. He, at the time I came to him, he was just a couple transfers older than me. And so, yeah, we were relatively similarly experienced with mission life and all that stuff. Yeah, so I was with him, and things were great. And then it started to get cold, and winter started to come in. And I was with him for 2 transfers. And he was one of my favorite companions. He was just an awesome guy. Not saying anything against any other companions, but, you know, some people click and some people are memorable. You know. Anyway, so, it's with Elder Ma. Oh, by the way, I keep saying Elder because as a missionary, that's the title we would use. Sort of like priest or minister. You can find it in the scriptures. Usually, it's used as a sort of, you could say, a religious title. Like back in the day, the religious leaders were called elders, especially in the time of Moses. Anyway, not meaning to go like deep Bible or anything, just thought you might be wondering. Anyway, So with Elder Ma for a couple transfers, kind of went through the beginning of winter with him, and then in about January or February of 2016, Elder Ma went to the city of Augsburg, and I received Elder Elwell, who was 2 transfers younger than me. So for the first time on my whole mission, I had a companion that was younger than me on the mission. At this point, I'd been on my mission for about 6 transfers. He had been out for about 4. So, yeah. But it was good. Elder Elwell, one really memorable thing about him is he was a worker, absolutely. Like, if he could help someone, if he could, mow their lawn or, anything to help people, he would absolutely do it. He was an awesome guy for that. He was a football player, kind of that build style. I think you know what I'm talking about. And, yeah, he was a really funny guy, like, cracking jokes all the time. And, yeah, so I was with him for a couple more transfers. And then we come to about April time. Yeah, so at this point, I've been on my mission a whole year, including the time in England for the training. And so at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a bit more experienced, so where am I going to go now? Well, dang it. Well, I had the awesome experience of going to Switzerland. Beautiful place. I love it. Come on. Yeah, Switzerland is beautiful. Like, especially being there in the late winter, early spring. It's breathtaking, I tell you. Now, I mean, I'm from Utah, Ogden, Utah, with lots of mountains. And Switzerland is also a very mountainous place. And the city that I got transferred to was the city of Chur, spelled C-H-U-R. I say all the city names in German because that's just how I learned them. And I should also note that I was, as you might have guessed, learning a lot of German. Speaking with people in German every day, and so at this point that I went to Chur, April 2016, at this point I got paired up with a German companion. Up until now, all my companions had been Americans, and I mean, as great as their German was, learning German from an American is just not as effective as learning from a German. Yeah. So in Chur, I got paired up with Elder Derksen. Or Dirksen, the struggle of American English. Anyway. But yeah. I was with Elder Derksen. And also at this point, very good that I had my German license. It was good for the whole European Union. But also in Chur, there was a car, an Opel Meriva Turbo. I don't know what year, but anyway. So there were some cars in the mission, mostly just for the areas that really needed them. And I agree, Chur, it did need a car. It was a very mountainous area, so traveling was just really difficult. Like Weiblingen and Tübingen, for example, they had really good bus and train systems. Most travel was walking and bus and trains. But in Chur, like, they had trains, but it's more of the little longer distance. So, anyway, so between having a German companion, being in Switzerland in late spring, and having a car, that was one of my favorite transfers of the mission. It was absolutely wonderful. And yeah, And also I'd say being, like, living with a German, talking with a German all the time, and also at that point, I think most of my speaking was in German. My German just skyrocketed. It improved a lot. I mean, pretty much with any language, if you live with people that speak the language, if it becomes a part of normal, like, everyday routine, you'll learn that language so much faster, and you'll learn it better, you know. Pronunciation will improve, being able to understand what the person is saying will improve, just everything. So, I know I'm spending a little extra time on this Switzerland part, but it was just awesome. So, anyway, but I was only there with Elder Derksen in Kur for one transfer, so only 6 weeks. And then I still got to stay in Switzerland, but I got moved to the city of Solothurn, which is, I don't know, an hour north of Bern. Bern is the capital of Switzerland. So, yeah. In Solothurn, I was with Elder Haradine, who was from England, and he he was the only companion I ever had on my mission that was shorter than me. But I don't know, like, I'm a little bit short, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I was with Elder Haradine in Solothurn, and Solothurn is a bit more city-like, less mountainous than Kur, so that was nice. Yeah. And then that lasted for one transfer, and sort of with visa stuff and passports. In Germany I had received a German visa, but Switzerland's a little different, and so I could stay there as a tourist, but for a limit of 90 days, which is about 3 months, which is about 2 transfers. So after my second transfer in Switzerland, I had to be transferred out. So I went from Solothurn to the city of Neuötting, and that's probably the smallest city I ever served in on my mission. And it feels like a really big part of my mission, just because I don't know how memorable it was, how much happened. So Neuötting is in the far southeast area of Germany. So there's Neuötting and Altötting. Altötting was a city of about 8,000, and Neuötting, which was like a newer development of the city, was about 4,000 or 5,000. So, yeah, pretty small. But yeah, I got transferred there, and I was with Elder Summers, who was actually the same age on the mission as I. He was in the training center with me in England. During the course of the mission, we never really ran into each other, but yeah, he was my companion for my first transfer there in Neuötting. And at this point, let's see, I was like 14 or 15 months out on the mission. So, yeah. El Summers is from Oklahoma, and he's a really funny guy. Kind of the serious funny. But yeah, one thing that he would do is, like, there's a roundabout outside our apartment, and I'm not sure I should say this, but he would he would throw food out there. Like, I don't know, if we had an orange and it went bad, he would just throw it out the window into the roundabout. I never really participated in the food throwing but yeah, that was one of his favorite things. But oh man, but it sort of backfired on him once. Sort of how that apartment was set up, the Neuötting apartment. So we had our bedroom, which we basically just had beds and wardrobes for our clothes there, and we had a little entry room and a kitchen / living room / study area. Every day we would study for about an hour, study our scriptures, Bible, Book of Mormon, things we believe to be inspired word. And so yeah, we had that room, and that was the room that faced out towards the intersection, the roundabout. And so it was sort of divided with the desks against the window wall, sort of in the middle, and by each of our chairs we had a window, so we each kind of had our own window. And as you can imagine, Elder Summers would throw he'd throw his food out his window. I think I threw a pancake once or something. Like, I didn't do it as much, but anyway. So he had a fish once. He got it from someone. Let's see if I can remember. We helped someone move a fish tank, and well, as thanks, they gave us a fish. And so they gave us 2 fish. That's right. We ate the first one, but we didn't really eat the second one before it wound up going bad, or starting to go bad. So we had to get rid of it. And Elder Summers, with his love of throwing things out the window, he sort of swung it by the tail. He was gonna try and fling it out his window, but it missed. The fish sort of broke apart and then splattered on his side of the room, like all over the wall. It was, man. But I don't know, he sort of learned from that. Sort of didn't, because he still kind of threw things out, but whatever. But it was fun. Yeah. But I was with Elder Summers for 1 transfer, and then Elder Summers went away, and for the very first time on my mission, I got a companion who was brand new. It was, and I'm gonna say it in German again, it was Elder Sommerfeld, which you can say Sommerfeld, whatever. In German it translates to Summerfield, which is nice. Elder Sommerfeld was brand new on his mission, and he was a big guy. Not fat, he was just like tall, wide shoulders. If I remember right, he was a wrestler, so a big guy. And I was like, I've said it before, I'm kind of on the shorter end, but I had the upper hand. I was more experienced. But basically, it was my job to teach him the ropes, teach him how missionary life works, teach him how to teach people about Jesus Christ and all that. And so I was with him for, let's see, a transfer and a half. At this point it was summer, sort of starting to get towards the later part of summer. And yes, so we were together later part of summer into about the first week of October. And at this point he was having some muscular trouble. Like I said, he was a wrestler before, and he had some sort of genetic disease where his joints would ache and sometimes just dislocate easily, and the kind of stuff you don't want, especially for as much as we would walk and you know, it just didn't fit so well. And so he made the decision that it would be best to return home, seek some medical treatment, and come back out a little later. So about a week or so into October, he made that decision. And so, well, I couldn't just stay in Neuötting alone. Like, as much as I like to think I can handle myself, well, I just don't think it's a good idea. Anyway, so Elder Sommerfeld, he went to Munich, you know, stayed with the mission president for like a day, and then he flew back home to America, and I got transferred down to a city in Austria called Brück an der Mur, which translates to bridge on the Mur. The Mur is a river, so sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Trying to play. Anyway, so I was in Brück an der Mur, and this was the second and last area of my mission where I'd get to drive a car. They also had an Opel Meriva. This one wasn't turbocharged, unfortunately. I'm something on my phone. Yeah, unfortunately not turbocharged, but hey, it was a car. And down in Brück an der Mur, I was with two missionary companions, with Elder Wilkerson and Elder Simon, or Simon. Elder Simon was German, and in German you pronounce Simon like Simon. So, yeah. So I was with them for the remainder of the transfer. Like I said, it was like a week or two into the transfer already, so yeah, I was with them for about 4 weeks, and then I need to make some doors here. And then at the end of the transfer, I got transferred back to Neuötting. And, I mean, it makes total sense. Like, you know, I was the, for lack of better words, the knowledge base of it. Like, I knew the area, I knew the people there, and it totally made sense to send me back there. In the meantime, the apartment was just, you know, closed for a month or so. But also, when I was sent back to Neuötting, I was with a certain Elder Hatton, like hat on your head. And so Elder Hatton, just like Elder Sommerfeld, was brand new on his mission. And he was also a big guy. He wasn't a wrestler, but he was a big guy nonetheless. And yeah, I was with Elder Hatton for a couple transfers. Sort of, you know, I was in Neuötting, I mean, it's hard to say how long because of the half a transfer I spent in Brück an der Mur, but I consider it 5 transfers, so 7.5 months, even though a month of that was in Austria. But, nonetheless, that's how long I consider myself to have been there. Yeah, but after a total of 5 transfers, and on the 1st of February, if I remember right, February 1st, 2017, I got transferred to the city of Vienna, which is the capital of Austria. And that was also a really awesome place. Huge churches, like, I mean, there are big churches all over Germany and Austria, and not so many in Switzerland, but there's still some. But Vienna, like, I don't know if it has the biggest churches in the world, but I think it has some sort of church world record setting anyway. Not to mention the musical history, the military history, the history, just all sorts of history with Austria, with the city of Vienna. So, yeah, so I went to Vienna, and I was with a certain Elder Bolt. And at this point, I only had a couple transfers left in my mission, but Elder Bolt had one more transfer. So basically, I was going to be his last companion before he went home. And so, we have a term that we use in the mission. I think it's sort of universal across just like all missionaries, but I could be wrong. We call it trunky, which refers to like suitcase, you know, a trunk. And basically, it means you feel ready to go home. And this feeling can happen to missionaries at any point in their mission. They can be at the beginning and want to go home. They can be towards the end, be looking forward to going home. Anytime it can happen. And so sort of the unsaid goal when you're with a companion that's nearing the end of his mission, it's to keep him from getting trunky. Basically keep him focused. Yeah, and, you know, and it's not like he fought it. It's not like, no, I want to go home. He tried to focus, and we did good work. And then, what am I trying to think of? So yeah, at the end of that transfer, at that point it was about middle of March, Elder Bolt went home, and then I began my last transfer. And I received a companion named Elder Valentine, and yeah, we were together for the last transfer of my mission. Super memorable transfer, like, you know, sort of like, you know, how much time left here in Austria, you know, make the best of it. See all the churches I can see, whatever, architecture, history, you know, that stuff. And so it was fun. It was awesome. So then finally, it's time to get ready to go home. I mean, honestly, the hardest part of it at that time was packing. For the whole 2 years, I have had 2 suitcases, and you know, they were about the biggest you can take on a plane with you. But yeah, I've been using 2 suitcases. And so for coming back, you know, there's weight requirements with flying, and so I had to lighten my suitcase. And I was honestly really surprised at how heavy my stuff was. I had to leave a lot of stuff, but I was able to bring back all this important stuff. And, had various different books. Also got an olive wood chessboard, which I had picked up in Neuötting around Christmas time, and various other things, clothing, and I got a hat. It's awesome. I'm gonna get this hat. You gotta see this. Yeah, you see this hat. It's nice, isn't it? I like it. I bought this in the winter time of 2016, 2017, and it kept the snow off me great. Honestly, I kind of bought it for looks because I had a wool coat and it matched it wonderfully. I liked it. Anyway, I'm gonna put my headphones back on. Alright, I almost just ate the microphone right there. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, basically end of my mission in Vienna, Austria. packed up what I could, and during the course of my mission I shipped a couple of things back, but mostly I brought everything back in my suitcases. And yeah, April, I don't remember, I don't even remember the day. What was it? April 20th, that was it. Well, April 19th, I took a train to Munich. Again, that's where the mission president lived, so that's where I got to spend the night, sort of talk with him a bit, you know, what did you learn these past years, and yada yada. And then the next day, April 20th, got up nice and early and went and got on a flight from Munich going to Denver, Colorado. And it was like an 11-hour flight or something. It was a long flight. But I mean, it wasn't too bad. Over time, I've just gotten good at flying because I've been doing it like half my life. It's a good skill to have. But yeah, flying home, and I was with, let's see, about 9 other missionaries. Yeah. I slept some of the flight. I read some of the flight. I drew pictures some of the flight. I sort of tried to plan out what I'd do when I got back. You know, used the time how I could. So, 11 hours later, I landed in Denver, Colorado. And it was so weird. And so in Germany and Austria, when you buy something, you don't have to pay sales tax. Like, if it's $1 for a taco, you pay $1, you get a taco. In America, and a lot of places, we have sales tax. So, let's say it's, I don't know, 7% sales tax. So you have your $1 and you want to buy that taco. Well, you can't, because with that 7% sales tax, you need $1.07. And so that was the first big shock for me. Like, the first thing I did after landing and getting my bags, I had a couple hours till the next flight, so I bought a smoothie. And yeah, it was like, you know, $3 for a smoothie. Okay, here's $3. Yeah, it's like $3 and something cents. Just like, so, you know, paid up. Anyway, that was the first thing. Second thing, smoothies. I could still get those in Europe, but they just weren't quite so common. Yeah, I mean, smoothies. Anyway, so after a couple hours in Denver, I boarded a small jet. I mean, you'd call it a plane, but it had about 16 rows of seats, and it was like 2 seats and 2 seats with the aisle in between. It was pretty small. Smallest plane I've ever been on. But it was a short flight. I mean, Denver to Salt Lake City, which was the final destination of flying, it's not far. I mean, you just fly over the mountains, basically. Yeah. So, did that flight, and then landed in Salt Lake City. And there, after about 2 years of basically only Skyping at Christmas and Mother's Day, I got to see my family again face to face, and it was awesome. Yeah. Oops. Anyway, And so after that, I went and talked with a couple people, and then I visited a couple of people, and then went home, went to sleep, which I definitely needed. And I mean, yeah, at that point I was home, and you could say mission accomplished. Well, I could say that, definitely did. But yeah, I mean that's basically the story. So now we come to the point that I'm home. So now the question that I mentioned, I don't know, an hour ago at this point. So, where'd the world go? What did I do when I got home? Why did it take me like 2-3 months to post another video? Basically, first of all, I was out of practice with YouTube, as you can imagine. I didn't do the YouTube thing while I was over in Europe. I had other priorities. So that was one thing. Another thing is YouTube seems to be having problems. Something called the adpocalypse sort of made me a little bit nervous about the YouTube thing. The other thing is I had a ton of computer things when I got home. For starters, my computer and the whole setup here was not set up. And I knew it would be that way because 2 years of just leaving stuff set up, no. Yeah, my dad had packed things up a bit. So I had to unpack and set stuff up again. And the other thing is, even though equipment-wise everything was there, I had some computer issues that took me like more than a month to finally solve. Basically, turned on my desktop computer and I logged on, great. Restarted a couple times for updates, and then like the next day, or maybe it was a couple days later, I restarted, and well, the computer wouldn't start. It had some sort of error. I'm trying to remember what it was. Basically, it like didn't read off the hard drive, and so yeah, I was like, what is this? Because it's not a problem I'd run into before. And so yeah, so that was the thing. So then I sort of swapped around my hard drive, swapped cables, and I sort of decided that my hard drives or the cables were going bad, and I'd been thinking for a while that I need to get a solid-state drive. So I thought, hey, why not? So I got a solid-state drive, solid-state hard drive, 500 gigabytes. And by the way, solid-state hard drives, well, they're not hard. Solid-state drives are awesome. They're super fast, and I love them. But they're usually pretty small for the price compared to hard disk drives. Anyway, so I got that, installed Windows 7 on it, my preferred operating system, and it worked for a bit. What I did not do is format my other hard drive that was previously running Windows 7. So it worked for a few days and a few restarts, and then I started having the same problem again, where the computer would get all confused when I tried to start it up. And so I thought, okay, well, I don't know exactly what's going on, but hey, I'm gonna take off the operating system off that other hard drive. And Well, it took a few days, but basically I moved around about a terabyte of data. I wanted to save all my old YouTube videos and various other things, and so I carried that between my two 2 terabyte hard drives and the solid state drive. Of course, the 1 terabyte is not going to fit on the solid state drive, but anyway, basically I formatted all the drives, and then I had another drive that I just got from my friend. This is a laptop hard drive, and I only used it for one thing. Installed Windows 7 on that so that I could format the other hard drives, and I have not used that hard drive again since. And then after all my hard drives were nice and formatted, no traces of Windows 7 on them to make things not work, then I reinstalled Windows 7 onto the solid state drive, and things were great. Things worked. And yeah, and this was like over the course of a month. I have a laptop which I bought in like 2010, and even then I paid $400 for it. It's been a trooper, but that's what I was using for several days. And so anyway, yeah, so between just sort of being out of it and then my computer not even working right for the first month of being home, I don't know, just I didn't really jump into back into the Let's Play and YouTube and all that. And then after a month or two, I just sort of forgot about it. Didn't feel like it. But now you're probably wondering, okay, so that happened, but what brought you back? You know, why are you sitting here playing Terraria and doing a Let's Play? How'd you get here? Well, I'll tell you. So, I like cars, and I like car shows. So I went to a car show, and I actually posted the video tonight. I'm recording this on August 7th. Yeah, I like car shows. And so I went to a car show on Friday, which was the 4th of August, and I took a couple cameras with me. Took like 170 pictures and like 70 videos. Excuse me. And then, yeah, I wanted to put them together. And I was honestly kind of apprehensive, like, you know, I've been out of YouTube so long, out of videos, like, can I get back into it? But I put together the video, and I think it turned out okay. Yeah, I mean, put that together and uploaded it. Well, even then, once I'd put it together, I was thinking, you know, maybe I'll just like, you know, hold on to this or whatever. But then there was a comment posted today of there was a comment posted today, and it said very simply, "Come back." It was posted on my last Terraria episode. The last one that I uploaded actually while I was on the mission. And when I left, I had like 100 of them ready to upload. And anyway, so on that last Terraria episode, was that comment posted today. And I don't know, that gave me the nudge I needed. I thought, you know what? I'll come back. So I did. Yeah, that's what this is. Coming back. I guess not many YouTubers can be basically inactive for 2 years plus. I mean, hard to find that with me because like I was gone, but I still had videos posting for like a whole year after I had left. Anyway, not a lot of YouTubers can say that they left for over 2 years and then came back and are doing the YouTube thing again. So we'll see how this goes for me. I mean, honestly, I've mostly done this because it makes me happy and I like it. Never been a super popular guy on YouTube, but I mean, it hasn't stopped me. I'm at almost 1,000 videos. So anyway, so now you know the basic story up to now. I mean, it took me an hour to tell it. There are certainly plenty more details I could share, but I just thought I'd give you guys everything I could fit in an hour. I mean, an hour's already a long time for a story, but yeah. So that's that. So, Terraria. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't say it clearly when I was talking about the hard drives thing. Amidst all that formatting and copying stuff, the player and world files of the Terraria before did not make their way onto the hard drives I have now. So there it goes. I mean, nothing I can do about it. Steam backs up your files to a point, but they don't back up everything, and I wasn't like looking to get it backed up. It just sort of just dropped off. You know, the files got lost. So, well, anyway, now we're in the here and now, and I'm in a cave. Yeah, sorry for being so all over the place. You know, last hour I've been telling a story and playing a game. Oh boy. Oh no. This is bad. Oh, this. Can't even go that way. Ah, dude. Okay, this is not good for me. Go away, bat. Go. Just don't. Please. Things just got exciting. Let's see. I really want to find a golden chest, because those have cool stuff in them. And I need some cool stuff. I'm just looking for whatever I can get, really. Let's see. So, as far as what's like going on in life, because some people care about that too. I have a job, and it's awesome. It's tech support, so I mostly answer calls and tell people how to use stuff. It's for a product, or more like for the website for the place I work at. I'm not going to say the name right now, just so people don't stalk me, but hey, I basically get paid to sit there and know stuff, and then share that stuff when people need to know that stuff. Good job title, right? Yep, I'm a stuff knower. Anyway, oh boy. So I'm working there, and I'm getting ready to hopefully go to the local university here. I'd like to study computer science, and I mean, seems like a good field. Why not? So, let's see. Focus on the game a little bit here. Yeah, so that's the basics of it. Been working on my car as I can. I've actually got 2 cars at the moment. A 1990 Toyota Camry. I've done a video or two with that car sometime in the past. I know I did a video for one of my stereo installs, At this point, I do not have the same stereo as that time. Seems to be the most changing thing about my car. I think I'll stick with the one I have now for a while, but anyway, so that's been keeping me busy. Work, you know, getting all hooked up with university, and cars. Oh yeah, the other car. It is a 1987 Toyota pickup, basic model. So, even though the cars are like only 3 years apart, there are many differences. Man, I've just got some hiccup burp things. Weird. I mean, like the Camry is it's fuel injected, it's automatic, it's a nice to drive car. It's a sedan. I like it. Simple. And the pickup is carbureted, so meaning instead of squirting fuel into the cylinders, instead, before anything goes in the cylinders, the fuel gets sprayed and mixes with the air and then divides out into all the cylinders and blows up. You know, because that's how engines work. So that's one difference. It's also a manual transmission, meaning instead of just driving and the car chooses gears, I have to choose gears. So, yeah, it's exciting. I mean, also it's a pickup, so a little bit different than a sedan. But man, I'm almost full Eskimo here. Yep, so that's my life at the moment. Let's see. I'm just gonna work on the house a bit more here. I'm trying to get wood because that's been a limiting factor. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How tall is this room? Why do I have to math so much? You know what? You know what? I don't care. One thing that I do like about rooms in this game is that these platforms count. So even though I can walk right through the wall, it still considers it a wall. So that's a room right there. That right there is a room. I like it. Okay. Oops. Yeah, I'm just trying to build some rooms. Now that I built this one, I do have to math. 1, 2. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Room is 12 wide on the inside. Awesome. And I just, you know, some people like me just have that OCD. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get a couple NPCs. I mean, at least the merchant. You know, get some sort of progress before I end this. Yeah, I'm already talking about ending it, but like I've been recording over an hour, and I gotta go to bed, man. Yeah, that's the thing about having a job. You gotta get up for the job. But honestly, I like the job. Like I said, I'm tech support, so I sit there and I know stuff. You know, I answer calls and emails when people have questions, and in the meantime, you know, when people aren't calling to ask questions, I have time to do whatever, basically. Lately I've been learning a lot about 3D printing. I think it's a pretty cool thing. And, yeah. I've also been learning about cars. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, for example, I've been learning about CVTs, continuously variable transmissions, which seem to be awesome, except that they're kind of weak and not so reliable. But they're cool because, like, you know, in a car, your engine revs up, and when it's in the low revving range, it doesn't have so much power. But then once it revs up a bit, you have a pretty good amount of power. Well, you know, basically your engine has its optimal power range. Let's just say on your regular old sedan engine, it's at 4,000 RPMs. Well, you can't stay at that 4,000 RPMs and just keep accelerating. You're gonna have to change gears at some point, otherwise you'll just stay at the same speed. And so, when you change gears, you know, you lose a little speed because that's just how gear changing works. You have to rev up again to get to that power range. Well, how a CVT works is it has a couple, what would you call those? A couple round things that a belt gets driven on. Man, I can't even think of the word. Anyway, it has a belt going between these two things, and what these two things can do is change their size. Sort of change the diameter that the belt winds around. And that's cool, because instead of having to change gears, transmission can just keep changing the diameter of these two spinning thingies and keep your engine in that 4,000 RPM range, the power range, and you know, you'll just keep accelerating at that, in that power range. No slowdown from gear changing. But downside is that, you know, because it's a belt that is driving your car, you know, normally a transmission has metal gears that are nice and strong and powerful. Well, because of that belt, it's not super reliable. It breaks after, I don't know, some people say like 70,000 miles. Some people have had it last longer, some less, some more. But basically, it doesn't last as long as some people would like. And also, you know, with gears, if you put pedal to the metal and just gun it, you know, go for it, you'll be able to, you know, keep all that power that you put down, and it'll make its way to the wheels and be all powerful and awesome. Well, with the CVT, again, because of the belt, it doesn't always maintain that power. So, like, for towing a trailer, or even hard accelerations can do it, you'll just lose power. I don't know if it's from slipping or what, but anyway. So, that's what I've been learning about recently on that end. Just waiting for daytime. Get this merchant moving. So, also, I talked about 3D printing as another thing I've been learning about. 3D printing is cool. I want one. A 3D printer. Except they're expensive. I mean, not too expensive. They're like a phone. Like, for $100 you can get a 3D printer that'll work decent. But then if you want to get like a good one, you're getting into the hundreds of dollars, or there are even some for thousands, but that's when you're on like top-notch 3D printing. So, anyway, no one cares about marble. Go away. So, a few ideas that I had with 3D printing is in this banging. Zombies, go away. A few ideas I had is, so in the dashboard of my car, I have a spot where I can put a tablet, and it fits pretty snugly. It's cool, and I like it. But also, I mean, as much as I like it, mostly I just have to wedge it in there, which, I mean, it works, but it's not the best thing. So what I would do if I had a 3D printer is design some sort of mount where I can just sort of open it up, drop the tablet in, and close it, and it'll click shut. I mean, I don't have a 3D printer, so I don't know how to make that work, but that's what I would do. So, I'm thinking if I'm going to be going to Weber State soon, that's the university, I'm pretty sure they have a 3D printer. Might be able to work with that. I don't know. I'll ask some people. But basically, that would be cool. You know, just because, you know, I'm thinking with university, if possible, I'm just gonna use my tablet and Bluetooth keyboard, you know, write the notes I need and just do awesome stuff. So hopefully that'll work. And you know, if the tablet sort of becomes this important thing, well, why not use it for music and navigation and watching movies when I'm not driving? All sorts of things that can be done. I just think it's a pretty cool idea. Anyway, Mr. Merchant doesn't want to move in here, unfortunately. So I gotta figure out what to do. Let's see. A few more things I can put in here. Mr. Merchant, come live here. Well, anyway, I think I'll end it on that note. Yeah, I mean, I'm back. Doing basically the same stuff on YouTube as I was before. So, hey Gilbert! Hey Gilbert, you're awesome. Come live in my house. Wow. Just annihilating slimes. That's awesome. Sweet. Alright, well, mission accomplished on that one. We got Gilbert. So, gonna, I guess, go with the same style that I did before. Remember, bosses, to like and comment and subscribe, because when you subscribe, that is totally a boss thing to do. And hey, like I talked about today, comments are actually pretty impactful. You know, never know what might happen. So please leave some comments. You know, if you just want to leave a comment, you have no idea what to say, tell me your favorite color. I'd love to hear it. My favorite color is green. So, thanks for watching, and y'all have a good night, good day. Bye.